everybody, this is Magnum Pi. I'm here with Teku, Golgotha, Vahilo, and Dark Templar, and we are Initiative Zero. This is Rifts, the Face of Evil, our actual play, tabletop role-playing game of that wonderful, awesome, amazing game, Rifts. So if you're a longtime fan of Rifts, or if you've just discovered it, or if you've just rediscovered it, this is the first published adventure for Rifts, and we're kind of going through it. What we're doing is we're doing a bit of a travel montage now that the group is back together because, well, they went off on a bit of a side quest to get some stuff. If you followed our last, 20-some episodes. and now they've got their stuff. They've reunited with their fellows there in the city of the Relic, and they're ready to take off across eastern North America to get to wherever James T. directs them to go. And, how are you guys doing there, Teku, Golgi, Vahilo, DT?
Pretty good, I guess.
Yeah. I'm finally over my jet lag, so doing well.
Good.
I actually just want to say how delighted I'm of a time I have reading the messages on our Discord here. Like, some of them are truly, seriously funny. And have such a great chuckle just reading half this stuff. It's pretty awesome. Keep doing it, guys. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome to have that little community building up. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, feel free. So the link is down below the video. Also, we really appreciate the comments on the video itself because, we just like hearing from everybody. It's great to actually have a little community building up around this. Yeah, let's jump into it. You guys finally made it to the Relic. You found James T. again. You all got together. And essentially, old Jack Rasputin and Sly had sold the Samus power armor that they had stolen, that you had helped them steal, as well as a few other bits of odds and ends, your old vehicles, your horse, Sir Luke. Moment of silence for the sale of a horse you cared so dearly about. Yeah.
Yep.
And
I was just muted. That was in silence. Sorry.
Yeah.
Screw you.
And the chuff of the glue factory. Yeah, just.
Oh, hey, no.
Oh, no. Okay, a kind,
that's unacceptable.
a kind
Not
old
funny.
farmer.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon.
All right.
The very hungry farmer that dresses
Luke
was on
like
the
the very
Discord
hungry
exactly what I'm
caterpillar.
talking about.
Luke
When I
would
say too soon.
never do that. Never.
That's right.
Monsters.
Uh-huh.
And so.
That's too soon.
And so, what was purchased was a hover version of the Cargonaut. It's a very modular vehicle. You guys drove one when you were kind of dealing with the Coalition outpost. This is a different model. It's not a flatbed, but it's got it's an 8-seater. Luckily for you guys, there are 8 of you, and there's an 8-seater here. Yeah, that should be able to traverse. It doesn't go very high. It only goes 10 feet off the ground, and it only goes 80 miles an hour. But it basically can go over a lot of shallow water and or snow, and there's a lot of frozen rivers because it's basically December still, right? So it's cold and snowy, and you're going to be going toward the east coast when it gets really a lot snowier. So that's kind of where you guys are here. So you'll have made all of these sorts of deals, purchases, and everything like that through the black market to keep a low profile, and you'll have headed out under the cover of night. And Portland, before you guys did that, you said you wanted to make connection with the guild because that's why you bothered to kill that guy in the first place, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And so in doing so, they award you with 2 spells from levels 1 to 5, which you, I think, have already chosen there, which is Life Blast, I think, and Healing Touch or something like that. Heal Wounds, yeah. And they also offer you guild membership, which you declined, you said, because you like your freedom.
That's true.
But they are very thankful for you having avenged them and disrupting the social order of a town. Well done, you evil human. All right, so the rest of you have various armor and or weapons. All your energy clips have been recharged. All your grenade launching capabilities have been refilled, plus a few extras. And there's a cache of coalition weapons that you will have accessible to you. CS fire breathers. There's a rocket launcher. There's a number of things that you actually went for, which are the fusion blocks. There's about a dozen of those that you managed to pick up as well. And that's kind of what you're situated in when you leave. Most of you can drive this vehicle except for James T. and Sir Luke, who are lounging in the back seat together, holding hands, I'm sure.
No, that's not happening. No.
Okay. Well, maybe James T. is holding his own hand. I don't know.
Yeah, he can hold his own hand.
But he certainly starts to talk a lot to you and ask you all sorts of questions, like how you got so big and things like that. But anyway, you guys drive across, essentially down through the Niagara Peninsula. You make your way into upstate New York and begin to make your way across that state. There is quite a significant amount of magic here, which allows you to make use of Portland and Sir Luke's leyline abilities. Whenever you come across a ley line, those two will scout ahead, see if there's a nexus, identify the nexus, make your way to that nexus, and look for another nexus so that you can be making use of Portland's Rift teleportation spell to allow you to basically jump from nexus point to nexus point, saving you a lot of time. And you manage to avoid any major conflicts along the way. You are moving along at a good clip. You have a hover vehicle, which it just really enables that movement. And ultimately you need to go east, is what James T. tells you. Traveling over the course of 3 or 4 days is what it's going to take you. The safest route brings you through upstate New York, and then you move down through what is now Pennsylvania into Maryland. There are a number of things that you see, creatures and the like, but you manage to avoid most of the problematic thing because you stick to following rivers and the frozen rivers and the like. Because most of the area is forest, which would be very hard for a large vehicle to make its way through, especially one that can only hover 10 feet off the ground. And you also will note that as you move into what used to be Pennsylvania, the land becomes much more rocky with tall hills that turn into low mountains as you move into the Appalachians. The areas that are not mountainous are basically rolling forest-covered hills and valleys. There are only few villages and towns, and most of them that you pass by are of the lowest tech levels, basically very similar to the outpost that you guys started in. They, when you stop just to replenish supplies, that you'll be doing a lot of hunting as well. You stop to get these things replenished. So after you trek through parts of the Appalachian Mountains, James T. points to a rather large river that snakes back and forth along the countryside, and says, "We follow this one," and it brings you down through. Basically avoiding having to do a lot of overhill maneuvering and stuff like that. And he begins to get more nervous and enthusiastic when he's looking out the window as you're moving on. And the vehicle, he says, stop here. And once the vehicle stops, he opens up the door and hops out and kind of scurries around. You've gone quite a distance. It's been 4 days of travel, and this is an area that you are not really familiar with. You don't sense a lot of magic here, Portland or Sir Luke. or Lex. Yeah. What you see is he scrambles up the embankment where the river is very wide here, very wide, and he moves to a spot where you can see there's a break in the tree line across the bank of the river, and he says, "Here, we're close now. This way is safe." And he kind of points into the trees.
I'm gonna gotta look over at Jack and kind of give him an eye, like, just, do you believe him?
I don't know. Looks like he's bringing us into forest. Well, let's go take a look and see what he's pointing at.
So I'll go along.
All right, you hop out of the vehicle.
I want to turn to James T. James, how far through this forest do we have to go?
Okay, so you get out of the vehicle as well?
Yeah.
And head up. Okay. Anybody staying behind in the vehicle? That might be a better question.
I am staying behind in the vehicle.
All right. Senate, you're getting out. You're staying behind.
I would get out. I'm honestly hesitating, but at the same time, if this is where we're going, this is where we're going, I suppose.
All right. And we'll say that Sly is currently driving. Old Jack and Rasputin are in the main cab. Basically, the back of the vehicle empties out except for Portland. And yeah, you guys, the three of you, head up to where James T is. And you see that he's basically standing on one hand, pointing down a dirt road. It looks to be a rather well-maintained road. It's actually built up in the center so that it drains properly and the like. It's snow covered, but you can see that there are tracks in the snow. It's been used even as recently as earlier in the day today. Right, the tracks look rather fresh.
Anyone have a tracking or hunting skill? Looking at the dog boy.
That would be this guy.
Yeah, you can tell that they're not even like there are animal tracks and there are people tracks, but there's also the narrow tracks of some sort of wagon or wheeled vehicle. You don't see any tread marks though.
So nothing indicating like a larger, I don't know, Jeeps or anything like that.
Nope, nothing like that. Although if you do want to look for other animal tracks, you can to try to identify what's been moving around here. Definitely humanoid-looking
Right.
footprints.
Yeah, I can try and see if there's any other animals, just to know kind of if they're large animals and that basically carrying larger wagons of stuff.
Yeah,
That would kind of be my question.
yeah, for sure.
So that wouldn't be my track by scent though.
No, it would be. Do you have another tracking skill? It would be under your list of skills.
Let's see here. Wilderness survival. Detect ambush. Prowl. No, I don't have anything like that, I think.
I've got tracking, but it's not very good. I could give it a shot though.
What kind of tracking is it? What does it say?
It's just tracking. It's just
Okay.
tracking, yeah.
Yeah, so you could track the humanoid footprints at the full value of that skill, and you can track animals, I believe, at a 20% penalty. I believe. I'd have to check.
Let's go with humanoids because
Okay, before you do that, Lex, you can give me a check with your olfactory, though, to see if you pick up a scent off of anything that's been left behind. Because there is still scent, right? Yeah, just whether you recognize it. So this is...
Failed by one.
Yeah, so that's... right, that's your track by scent, right?
Yeah.
But that's for olfactory, right?
Yeah.
But let's just see if you actually... your superior sense of smell rather, lets you identify common smells, right? Apparently, you can't make out what these or it's just been so long then, and it's so cold that it didn't really cling to anything. That's fine. Sir Luke, you
Yeah,
can give a.
I had my head out of the window in the car, so maybe I'm just
You're just all
still coming
snotty
down
and
from that.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir Luke, you can give me a tracking roll if you like.
Tracking. There we go. Probably not going to make it though. Yeah, no,
Nope.
definitely didn't.
All
make
right. Well, one thing's for sure. You can't tell necessarily what they were doing, but they are essentially heading back down this road. You can tell as well, based on the depth of the footprints and things like that, that it is a gravel and dirt road underneath. Like, this is a built and maintained road. So,
Do we take the hover vehicle through this, or do we have to walk it?
oh, it's wide enough for the vehicle for sure.
Okay.
The snow is the hover vehicle can go over, I believe, several feet of snow without problem. So,
No, should we go down the path?
I'm gonna look at James and ask: is this the direction we're going for sure? I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but everything starts looking the same under snow.
this is it. This way, it's safe.
Is it?
Well, that's wildly convincing.
What more do you want?
Somewhere between 3 and 8 minutes, and then I'm going to use precognition just to see what might be in our future following this path.
All right, precog. So you ask for a bit of a break. Everybody gets kind of back in the vehicle because it's cold, and you sit out there in the cold.
Go for a pee, stretch your legs,
Yeah,
reminisce about times involving, I don't know, horse ownership or
yeah. Roll a d6 plus 2 for me. All right, so that's you're going to spend at least 4 minutes, and yeah, give me a skill check. You should have a precognition skill. Yeah.
All right. Are there any situational modifiers?
Nope, not based on what I see. Hey, look at that. Well done. All right. And, yeah. So, let me just see what it tells you. All right, so you get this vision of James T smiling, and two very large oak doors in front of what looks to be a rather nice house, actually. And you can hear one of the doors is open into this house. They're very large doors, and you can hear this thudding and a large roar coming from the inside of the of this house. And James T's just smiling and kind of laughing, and the others are standing around with you. And you look to the door as essentially four metal claws grab the doors and pull them open, and that's when you snap out of your vision there.
Is there like an emotional value to this? And
you get fear, right? James
Yeah.
T's emotional value is of kind of glee almost.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. And I'll just ask him, James, what?
So he went back to the vehicle, right? While you were sitting
Yeah,
there. Yep. So you make your way back to
yeah.
the vehicle. Yeah. Are you standing outside the vehicle talking to him, or do you actually climb in the vehicle?
I'd probably just stand outside at this point,
Okay, sure.
try and shake off all the, I don't know, emotional baggage. What? What is the significance of large, what, oaken doors on a house meeting the description that I would be able to identify?
Yeah, and he just kind of looks puzzled at you. What doors?
Again, I've got a limited ability to see the future, and there's no great way to ask this, but does this make any sense to you? And I will describe in general terms what I saw.
And he gets this huge smile on his face when you describe it. He says, "Oh, he's home. He's home."
And I'm just gonna very casually scan the faces of everyone else in this arrangement.
They all look as puzzled as you do. So
Yeah.
I'll speak for the NPCs. I won't speak for Lex Portland and Sir Luke, but
Yeah, I'm quite disturbed by his reaction. Like he seems, it seems unhinged almost.
Well, it's not great, and I don't want to get into my takeaway on the thing, but it's not great. All right, well, we've come this far. We're here now. And I'll say just, try and keep your head, because you're the guide here.
and old Jack says, "What? You're not?" It's like, "Who's home?" He says.
And I'll describe the big metal claws,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, and Rasputin and Sly look at James T. "Who is it?" And James kind of chuckles again, and he says, "That's Mez. Mez is an old acquaintance of mine. He's a testy blob, but he might be of assistance to us."
I thought we were going to him, he,
Yeah,
he.
what's going on here?
Yeah, he doesn't like him. Mez doesn't like him. He might be of help to us. It's also like you said, winter and snow. It's harder to navigate. Things look different than when I was here last.
I hate how thin of a cover that is.
Well, it only snowed so much.
Yeah. So James, this is the kind of thing you might want to tell people on the front end so that they're not caught out unawares and questioning exactly what they're doing way the hell out here.
I didn't know he'd be home. You're the one with the muty powers.
Tell us more about this new person that we don't know about.
It's Mez.
What's he
Oh,
about?
he's well, he can get angry at times. He's he's an old friend that that didn't have a very good experience with him.
How so? Explain.
Oh, well, they didn't get along, so he made some changes to Mez.
Changes? What kind of changes?
The claws, he says with a big smile, looking at Senate.
That's not I don't think that's metaphorical. I think that's quite literal.
I get that feeling as well.
So if Mez had a rough time with is Mez going to be as happy to see you as you are to see him?
Oh, I hope so.
We hope so.
I, I, I can't see the future like you.
Well, I can only see so much, unfortunately.
Well, we're here, as I said. Let's go meet him.
Being here doesn't make it a good idea either.
No, it doesn't, but
Old Jack, who's decided to be driving at this point, turns around and looks back, almost like a "don't make me stop this car" moment, and says, "Jimmy, you better not be feeding us a line of horse shit. We've been through too much with you already." And he turns back around and puts it in drive, and the vehicle lifts up off of its landing gear, which you can hear retract, and begins to move up the embankment of the riverbed and down the dirt road. The road leads to a pretty little town of what seems to be a farm town surrounded by fields and the like. The trees clear out into a rather, nice bit of rolling hills, but not particularly steep hills, right? Enough to be farmed over and the like. And, you can see that from the local people that seem to be walking down the roads and the like, that and from the small kind of almost hut-like houses on the periphery, that this place caters to farmers, hunters, and trappers from the local hills. The sign at the town gate says "Welcome to Finton." And from the road you can see about 60 homes, with a hint of others in the distance. Looks to be a rather moderate-sized town. As you move in through the town, you can see that there's some large buildings and merchant shops and a town square near the center of the town. It's a picturesque place. It's something that you might have seen on a, 20th century kind of Christmas postcard, given the snow-covered rooftops and the smoke coming out of chimneys and things. Even if you had the window down, you could smell fresh baked bread coming from the bakery, but also the houses that you drive by and the like. There's a general store that you zip past, a jail, which is this large, foreboding gray stone building right next door to the general store. There seems to be a barber and a shoemaker, a furrier, a tailor, carpenter, baker, and an herbalist shop, as well as a blacksmith, a couple of saloons. There's a dance hall, and even a place that says "healer" on the sign. You notice that there's a boarding house and a stable located down a path that extends east from the center of town to a little bit more of a rustic part of the town, where it's kind of opening into the direction that you came from. That's kind of where you are. Old Jack sits down in front of this boarding house, this stable, and and says, "Well, it'll be better for us to probably walk through town here."
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right. And getting out of the vehicle, old Jack tests just kind of checks his forearm blaster on his bionic arm and his retractable blades that are in his arms and the like, and grabs a couple energy clips and stuffs them into the pockets of his long coat. Rasputin and Sly both take an energy pistol and put it in a holster on their hip.
I'm already armed up, so.
All right. Are you bringing anything with you?
Just my. Well, are they armoring up? Because if they're not, I'm not going.
No,
Okay.
They're not putting on their armor. They're just bringing they are bringing some mega damage weaponry.
Yeah, well, no, I'll just, if I need to, I'll take out my sword.
Okay, cool. Senate?
Um, I'll bring a hilt, I guess.
Okay. Hanging off your belt.
Yeah. And that's probably fine.
All right. And Lex?
So I see old Jack and the others kind of loading up with some mega damage handguns and all that. So I'm gonna get my C18 laser pistol.
Okay, so you holster the C18. Cool. All right.
Well, I'll just take my vibro sword with me.
That's a big weapon.
Is it really?
It's a sword. Like is it a vibro saber or a vibro sword?
Vibro saber.
Okay, so that's a short sword. So yeah, you could have that on your belt.
But
Yeah,
I can put it like blade style, right? You said.
you can. Yeah, it's a rather small sword, so it's not katana length.
Gotcha.
It's more like a gladius. But
Yeah.
yeah, but you can have it down your back if you want the difficult draw. No problem.
Yep.
All right, but it still looks
badass.
cool. Yeah.
This
All
looks
right.
fucking cool.
That's right. That's what we're going for. All right.
Yep.
So there you are. You guys are standing out front of a boarding house. Would you like to do anything here, or would you like to head into town further?
Let's head into town.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the boarding house depends on how long we plan on staying. So let's
Yeah.
see what else is going on there.
All right. And you make your way into town. There are people around. They're relatively courteous, but not particularly friendly or talkative. They seemed, when they spy that you're not from around here, they kind of give you a wide berth, right? They seem to be a bit timid around strangers, and particularly around James T, who is just walking around in the open. He's not the prettiest sight to behold. Same with Lex. Portland, are you dressed up in your full regalia there?
I am.
Okay, so the two of you, Lex and Portland, they kind of give you some interested, like some side eyes and things like that. But people definitely seek to avoid James T. He's bothersome to them based on his appearance. So you just move through the town.
I'm going to say to
And-
James T, is this town familiar to you? Do you recognize this place?
Oh yes. He says, this is the place.
So do they recognize you?
Oh, well, last time I was here, I didn't look like this. I looked more like you, he says.
So what can you tell us about this town?
It's quaint. It's quaint, but you see how the people are afraid?
Yeah.
He kind of chuckled. They're afraid of, and he lowers his voice. They're afraid of Mez.
Why?
You'll see. You'll see. And he starts to just kind of lead you guys along.
Yeah, you're leading us along.
Yeah.
That's an apropos statement.
All right. You guys want to do anything else?
You said we passed there was a healer's sign building.
That's right. Yep. So what I'm kind of envisioning is you guys went into town, kind of did a little bit of a loop, and then came back to this boarding place to park, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of got a lay of the land here. So
I might want to stick my nose in that particular building.
sure. Yep. So you stop at the healer's shop there,
Yeah.
and you go inside, or just look through the window, or
I might step inside. Are there any, let's call them customers? Or
there's
is
a
it
few.
just the purveyor of the establishment?
There's a few people in here. This place is kind of like a sort of mystical apothecary.
Oh, I got you.
And yeah, that's, you can tell that the The building, the front area which is the store sort of area, is only just the front portion of the building. There's space behind the store as well, and there's a couple people that are buying a few jars of this or jars of that or preserved something or other. And as you walk in, you can hear the proprietor kind of handing us a paper bag to one woman. This should take care of his cough, he says, but only one a day. She's like, oh, okay, thank you, and yeah, she sees you, and the conversation kind of comes to an abrupt halt when you walk in. Is anybody else going in with him, or is it just Senate going in?
I'll go in with them.
I'll go with him.
I want to stay out on the street and just kind of try and eavesdrop on people's conversations as to what they're saying about me.
They're not saying anything, really.
Mug everybody that goes by.
Yeah, they're not actually saying anything. They're tight-lipped. They don't, not a peep. James T is the one that's actually doing most of the talking, going, why are they going in there? We've got places to be, he says.
But is it the type where it's like, if I'm standing on the side of the road, they'll cross the road to, go down on the other side of the sidewalk or something?
Oh yeah, with you and James T standing there, for sure. They will go walk on the other side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to stand outside this shop and basically, mean mug or just kind of try and ID everybody who kind of goes around.
Yep. And old Jack puts one boot up against the side of the building and kind of tilts his hat down as he leans against the building. The two Psy stalkers stand almost like guards around the door. And so back inside, Sir Luke, you are massive in here, and the people that are in here look at you like, oh, sweet Jesus. Like they're just Portland, you're of course wearing your garb, and that makes them uncomfortable. Senate, back to you.
The owner, the guy behind the counter,
Yep.
I assume.
Yep.
What's he look like?
He's probably middle-aged. He's relatively thin. He's not portly or anything like that. He's got about a day's growth on his face, and he has both hands on the counter, just watching you guys as you come in.
Mm-hmm.
Says,
Well,
welcome.
I'll say, hi. Sorry, we're just rolling through town, and one healer to another, I thought I would stop in and, well, say hello. And with that, can I use read aura on him?
Sure. Yeah.
Or see aura, I guess.
See aura, yeah.
I'm just I'm curious if he's healing people conventionally or if he's using magic or psionics.
Yeah, so he has a medium level of experience, no presence of magic that you can see. He is psychic, though, a low base PPE. He's not possessed, and he doesn't seem to have any unusual human aberrations.
Does he respond to my greeting?
He said, sorry, what did you say for your greeting again?
Oh, just one healer to another. I thought I would stop in and introduce myself.
And he says, okay. Well, glad to have another healer around.
Well,
Says,
actually a couple, I think. But
I guess then happy to have two around or more.
I suppose, being new to town, I was hoping to make a gesture of goodwill, and offer my services such as they are.
Oh, offer them to me.
More so those that might be in need.
Those that are ill, that need healing.
Should you have a case that may be somewhat complicated or I don't presume to say beyond your scope, but of greater magnitude than you may otherwise be capable of handling.
Oh, well, thank you for that offer. I appreciate your concern and consideration for our town. Very few people that just come wandering through towns are so, so gregarious and outgoing with their services.
I understand the appearances of myself and my friends may be off-putting to those that don't know us, and this seems like a good way to get to know us, I suppose.
Well, I suppose it would be, yes, if you're giving people free healing.
Well, as much as I can, I suppose.
Ah, I see. Well, that would make things difficult for me.
Again, I'm not trying to intrude, but should you have a case of greater magnitude,
Mhm.
I'd happily try and help.
Well, again, I appreciate that offer. That's very kind of you.
I can't say as to how long we'll be in town. If I'm to understand it, we're meeting some kind of old friend of one of my companions.
Oh,
But
they're from here, are they? He looks at Portland and Sir Luke.
and I will glance over my shoulder and say, honestly, I'm not quite sure.
Well,
This
we're
would
not,
be
but
this
somebody
would
else.
this would be one of our companions who may or may not warrant the looks that your townspeople are giving us.
No, they're giving you looks. He says,
Well,
I mean, and the people that were in here have left already.
yeah,
Of course, they looked at Portland and Sir Luke, they stick out like sore thumbs. You look probably
yes.
one of the most normal. Actually, you probably look like the most normal person in the whole group.
Well, it's a question of degrees, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm normal-ish.
You're just a monstrously huge person.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah.
But I was hoping to not stir up the town unnecessarily while we were here. Again, I don't think we will be here overly long.
Oh, okay. He says, well, I hope that there's not too much of a stir then, as you make your way through.
So I'm looking at them and thinking, well, I've got to ask. What's the name of the guy that
Mez.
James T. Mez? Sir, I don't know if you could help us with this, but our friend, such as he is, was asking about an individual named Mez. Are you familiar with this person?
And he says, oh, he looks a little nervous. You can see his hands come together and kind of start wringing. That would be Lord Fromeline. We would never be so bold as to call him by his first name. He is our protector. He's very brave and very strong.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, Lord Fromeline?
Fromeline.
Fromeline.
Well,
You'll have to excuse us. We've been, I guess, I can't say we were introduced, but we can only go by the name we were given. So, Lord Fromeline it is, I suppose.
another question, if you don't mind me asking. Is the name James T. familiar to you at all?
Yes. He knows Lord Fromeline, from what I understand.
Kind of look over at Senegal. Can you tell us and give us your impression of James T?
And
Tall.
Can I try telepathy as this is coming up?
Sure.
I mean, I'm now
Yeah.
sparring, not sparring with the psychic, so.
And again, I'm going to say, I apologize. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable if this is. I just this is important for us to know. If you can provide us with any information.
We understand completely. But again,
Yeah.
to avoid stirring up unnecessarily.
And he, you pick up as you question him, you pick up impressions of fear and dread, right? Ideas of, oh, I hope the Lord is not displeased, right? And kind of, fleeting images of a mechanical arm smashing a stone statue, and a sort of shriveled man with like a damaged face is kind of the image that you get. But then his head turns and you can see one of his eyes is replaced with this mechanical eye that doesn't look like any sort of bionic eye you've seen before. It glows red, and is much larger than the other eye, and it looks like he's kind of sitting on there's behind his head is this sort of polished metallic, almost throne. You can only kind of see the headrest of the throne, sort of thing.
Having experienced some of the creations of, I really want to call him El Hihi, but I shouldn't. He had the glowing red, or they had the glowing red eyes. Would you describe the eyes as similar?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
He also has a bit of like a metal plate over that same side of his head.
Yeah, he's
So it looks
like,
like
a
he's
cyborg as opposed to a full automaton.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm clearly this guy is unhappy that we are now discussing the Lord, and there is a threat of potential violence involved.
And James T, of course.
Well,
So he hasn't said anything yet, but
yeah.
Sorry, what was your question about James T?
the question is, I asked, is there anything you could tell us about him? And again, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but given the circumstances, we would appreciate any knowledge you might have about him.
Oh, he was a tall, handsome man. Came in with a number of machines in tow to talk to Lord Fromeline. One time,
Tall and handsome.
yeah, and left with him. The Lord was not the same after that.
Oh, can you explain what happened?
He was injured greatly. I don't know if they had a falling out.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
That would be one of my concerns. Because again, I'm sure your Lord is just and kind and merciful, and I will say these words quite intentionally while looking directly at him.
And his face would only betray disagreement. It says our Lord is a strict master, but he keeps the town safe and free of trouble. Very peaceful here. And his mind is betraying again fear and dread.
Well, peace under a cruel master isn't exactly peaceful, is it?
It's very peaceful, he says.
You're sure very peaceful.
And I will echo the word very peaceful in his mind.
And he completely cuts you off. You no longer can read his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you should go, he says.
And I'll say, perhaps. Thank you for your time. And again, should my services or services of my companions be needed, please. I'm sure you'll know where to find us.
I'll give
Yes,
him a
I'm
bit of a
sure.
nod.
I'll sort of gingerly, not bow, but like kind of do a somewhat embellished nod, and then
Okay.
sort of back out
I'll
of
give
the
it,
space while trying to navigate around Sir Luke.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll give him a nod as well. Yes, I carried the room itself.
5 steps to the left and then 2 steps backward.
So yeah, I'll do the same thing, nod to him, and kind of walk out.
Okay. Portland, anything?
Nothing so far.
Okay. You leaving with the rest then?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, Lex.
As I do, kind of walk. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, okay, Lex, sorry.
I was gonna say, Lex, you see these 3 exit the building. You did notice the other 2 customers exit before them, but that was a few minutes before. Sorry, Sir Luke, you were going to say.
I was kind of looking at Senate and kind of giving you the side eye, kind of knowingly, like, this is something more serious than James T has let on. Do we
Okay.
see Jack anywhere?
Okay. And Lex, you were going to say?
Just as they come out of the building, I just want to turn to them and say, "You guys learn anything new in there?"
And
And I'm gonna
yeah,
kind
go
of
ahead.
mumble. We need to talk to James, and I need you to keep an eye on him while we do.
Well, he's standing
And
right
I'll-
beside him. Yeah. he's
Oh,
like, they're all right
perfect.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
and that, well, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Is Jack there as well?
Yeah, he's got 1 foot up against the side of the building. He actually takes it down and stands upright from leaning against the building. He's like, you're already done. Good.
Yep.
Hey, Jack, can you and I go for a bit of a walk?
No, let's not even go that far. Jamie,
And James
Who's
T
Lord
kind of
Fro-
looks up at you.
who's Lord Fromeline?
That Mez.
Why is seemingly everyone here horrified of him?
Oh. He's a monster.
Ah,
Well,
You
now that we've
should-
got that out in the open,
You should notify him that you're in his town. It would be a very good idea.
I'm sorry, I've got to ask again, hoping for a bit more clarity and illumination on the subject. Why are we in his town?
He could be helpful against him.
the people here are terrified of him.
I'm not.
He
I mean,
laughs.
that is one dimension. I'm more worried about what's going to happen when he sees you, because I
Oh.
feel like you have a bit of a history that you may not be as forthcoming about.
Oh, I tried to speak to him nicely before. He got angry. He's got a temper.
So if you've brought us to the doorstep of a monster with a temper, with a history with you, what makes you think he will help us? As opposed to, oh, I don't know, act in a way that his townsfolk seem to think he would be inclined to.
Revenge.
Well, see, that's my worry, because the question becomes, what's more valuable to him, revenge with you or revenge with him?
I guess that's what we need to ask him.
When you spoke to him last, he came back badly injured. What happened?
You don't technically know that yet.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that. Sorry. Never mind. Scratch that.
Scratched.
What kind of history do you have with him? What went on? Because I'm sorry, if you're walking us into something, we've a right to at least make an informed decision on the subject.
Well, he says, because of him, I lost the love of my life.
Because of
Mez.
Mez? Okay. And what happened to Mez while this was happening? Because he didn't come back in fine form either, did he?
And I messed him up pretty good.
You messed him up.
So I think this is about revenge, but I don't think this is about revenge for Mez.
Oh, revenge for Mez, all right. Not revenge for me. I got that already.
Well, you say that, but losing the love of one's life carries some weight.
He took care of Mez worse than I ever did.
And I'm going to kind of look around the balance of this group. Just kind of gauge what everybody's faces are betraying.
Rasputin and
Me,
Sly.
me anger.
Okay. Rasputin and Sly and old Jack are kind of getting impatient with the banter. Rasputin says, "Look, are we here to get some refreshment and keep going? Or are we going to try to get some help from this monster? Because I can sense something. How about you, Sly?" And Sly nods. Lex, you can sense... What's the range on your magic senses?
I want to say it's something like 50 feet.
Let's see what he got written down here.
Like the sense psionic and magic energy.
No, supernatural beings. What's your range?
Sense supernatural beings. Like I can 100 feet per level of experience.
So 400 feet or 1,400 feet if they're using their powers. Okay.
Yeah. And then it depends if I'm sensing demon lords,
No.
gods, and other inhuman beings.
Yeah. So a few hundred feet. So you don't sense anything yet.
No,
Sorry,
I'm just seeing everybody kind of intentionally avoiding us in this town, and kind of recognizing the fact that we're not welcome here, and we should kind of keep going.
Was it Sly or Rasputin that made the, are we getting a refreshment and moving on or what?
That was Rasputin.
Okay, well, I'll look over at Rasputin and say, drinks are all well and fine. I'm not here to take out someone over an old grudge. I'm here for him, he, whatever. And this doesn't smell right. I appreciate wanting to get, wanting to get more strength to deal with this problem, but at the same time, we were told at the onset, he's in a cave, we seal that cave, it largely solves our problem.
Yeah,
We're just bringing a monster. We're just bringing a monster into it. Make this better. Because all that does to my eye is muddy the water.
Yeah, I don't like going into something where somebody hasn't provided all the information that they have.
And the fact that you're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs to get us here.
Breadcrumbs? James T. kind of skitters closer to you. Listen here. Listen. Mez is a big target. And he has a whole whole cave full of those bots. You want him targeting you, or you want him targeting a monster? Huh? Senate? And he kind of lifts himself up on his fingertips just to be a little bit higher, looking up at you.
Yeah. And I'll just honestly kind of take a knee next to him and get eye to eye and say, what I want is for you to be a little more forthcoming. Because at the onset of this trip, You said this was something we could handle. You said this was something relatively simple and direct. Now you're moving us all over the map. You're bringing us to the doorstep of God knows what, for reasons that are, at best, a bit of a stretch.
We got here pretty easy, didn't we?
No, you got here pretty easy, because so far all you had to do was take out 2 brain-dead, I don't know, thieves. We've already had to roll around with the coalition.
You chose to do that, not me.
As a requirement to the goal. So don't say that we got here pretty easy, because to this point, it's been a little more uphill than you might appreciate.
Well, you want forthcoming? And he points past your shoulder. That's Mez's place right there.
Turn
My
around.
issue is, I don't even know that I want to go say hi. I don't know that it's worth it.
All right, Sir Luke, you look over your shoulder, and you see a large, attractive brick house that's just off to this one side of town there, kind of on a little hill just past the center of town. A pair of large oak double doors mark the front entranceway.
Oak doors.
Oak doors and metal claws.
Well, no claws on these doors yet.
I'd rather keep it that way. I don't like this. I don't see it as a necessary step.
Well, here's the problem. I think that this is the villagers of the townsfolk probably already told them that we're here.
I don't know that they've gotten quite that far, and it doesn't stop us leaving before he comes looking. I'm also maintaining more or less eye contact with Jamie as I'm saying this.
Okay. And he kind of looks past you up at Sir Luke, and then over to Lex and Portland and Rasputin and Sly and Old Jack. Says, if he's a monster and you can see what he's doing to these people, don't you think he should be addressed?
But he wasn't the monster that we signed up for. Now you're starting to see my issue.
Oh.
Is he yelling at this point? I'm just curious. Is this like...
No, I'm just leaning closer to the mic because I'm, for some reason, leaning in as though I'm talking to a robotic cameraman.
The way you're talking to him seems as though, like, no one's that calm talking to anybody. I feel like you're yelling at him at this point. Like, I'm getting this vibe.
We're getting there. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with JC.
What's Senate's mental endurance?
That's a great question. Let's find out together.
Does anyone get that vibe? No, is it just me? I feel like you're literally
13.
yelling at this individual at this point.
Yeah, you can. If you're, I mean, it's up to you just how much Senate would be expressing that anger, whether he'd be losing
I'm
control.
Starting to take a tone for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know that I'm quite there yet.
Lex, Portland, do you guys want to weigh in on anything here?
I'm gonna be like, why the fuck are you yelling at this guy?
Okay.
I'm interpreting as yelling at this guy.
And then I'll stand up and I'll take a step back and I'll say, because this isn't what we signed up for.
What is this exactly?
I think he's brought us here to deal with an old grudge, as opposed to something more directly related to him.
I think I mentioned this like 3 episodes ago, breaking the fourth wall. But like, why are we even doing anything with this guy? I'm sorry. Are we coming to this resolution?
We're settling up our own tab. This is something. This is something for him to look after. This isn't not our problem.
What tab? I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe this guy anything.
Not to break the fourth wall, but we made some sort of a resolution to take out him for having thrashed Hunter's Cove.
For this thing, for James, is why we did it. That's why.
No, we were doing it for Hunter's Cove, not for James. Well, Senate was doing it for Hunter's Cove, not for James.
According to him, that, oh, sorry, not according to him, but according to him, I'm going to point at James. Apparently, there's a him out there who controls these things and which destroyed whatever. We destroyed those robots. I haven't seen any robots since. Have you?
Yes, you
No,
have. We
yeah,
have.
Which ones? The rhinos?
The rhino buffaloes, which had the same level of technology.
And we destroyed those too. Have you seen
where
any
there's
more?
those ones, there's more.
So he, not he, but he said, and I point to James as I say that, sure. And yet we've been running around. We went to that fishery place, destroyed all that shit, got all this ammo. We're kind of like fugitives.
Well,
People
we
are trying
didn't
to
destroy
find
the
us.
fishery place. We went at the coalition. Somebody else rocked the
Yeah, somebody else destroyed that.
The
on the
fishery
subject of
place?
setting up or settling up other people's tabs.
What are you talking about? We went there and we still destroyed things.
The
We
base.
destroyed coalition things. Somebody else destroyed unity things.
Oh my goodness. Are we playing the semantic game with you too? Are you gonna start yelling at me as well with your stern voice?
Oh, no one's yelling yet.
Okay,
Well,
one
no
second.
one's yelling yet.
Lex, what you notice as the conversation gets heated between your accompaniment here, that people are starting to basically clear from the street. They're moving into buildings and the like.
I wanna turn to the group just as they're kind of infighting there. And I just want to say, yeah, guys, it's getting pretty quiet out here. If everybody's afraid of this Lord Fromeline, of this Mez, whoever he is, they're clearing out right now.
I'm still looking at the doors, by the way.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
it's a very nice house.
Doesn't seem very quiet out here. But sure.
I still think
I'm
clearing
just
out's the right
saying,
move.
yeah, I think so too.
Well, then
We
why
don't need.
why are you sitting here yelling at each other?
I'm
Come on.
not I'm not trying I'm just trying to explain what we're still doing with this dude. If he's this if God, I keep forgetting your goddamn name. If I really do forget your name. If Sonny here is upset about James over here, and well, these other things that he's having us do, then why do we keep doing it? I'm saying we can just peace out. I'm not worried about that. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm here to settle up Trapper's Cove. The best
Yeah.
way to do that is with James pointing out how to get there.
And he's
Yeah.
pointing
This
in
is
what direction right
this
now.
isn't there.
It's
I think
Point
just
in.
on the way, he says, as he starts to walk past you. Anybody going to come with me to introduce themselves to the rightful ruler so we can get past this place?
why can't we just go past now?
So he doesn't come looking for us for being rude. And maybe he might just lend a hand by being a great big target to distract him. But what would I know about all this?
Uh, I'm just following blindly. Let's go, James. Might as well. Point me away.
I look at Jack and the Size Stalkers and say, I call bullshit on this whole visit, this whole Mez Fromeline. This isn't what we signed up for.
And Sly says, smells like bullshit to me. Watch yourself, brother, he says to Rasputin. And he nods.
I want to turn to Sly and Rasputin and say, have you guys ever heard of this Fromeline before? You spent more time with James T than we have.
Never been out here, says Rasputin. Never heard of him.
Well, I'm going to look around and say, to hell with it. I'll walk towards the building as well.
And James T kind of leads the way, skittering on his hands. Old Jack walks up to Senate. Says, if things get ugly, I'm pretty sure you can contain it, right?
You say Senate says?
That's what old
No,
Jack
he's saying-
says to Senate.
Okay. Great.
And I'm going to, again, look at Jack and say, from what I've seen, I can't tell you for sure.
I have confidence in you. Slaps you on the shoulder. And then he kind of crosses, as you're all kind of walking at different rates and stuff, he crosses over to Portland. Think you're going to be able to act? When needed.
Yeah.
I've seen you put the fear of, well, something into other things, and stick things down pretty tight.
Yeah.
If this thing is just metal claws, we can keep our range.
Fair enough.
It's more than just claws.
And
look around you. Look at the people. Look at their faces.
Old Jack nods as he reaches into his long coat and pulls out an energy clip, pulls back the sleeve of his arm there, and there's a port on the side, and he plugs the clip in and kind of polishes his heavy blaster on his forearm. Just getting ready. So
Can't help but think that the bigger guns in the truck might have been a better way of getting ready.
Yep. So you make your way up to the house. James T. steps up and knocks very firmly and hard, even damaging the front door. And a quiet old man answers the door. And James T. basically almost climbs up the man and says, "Look here, servant. Tell your master to come and meet his maker." And then he drops back to the ground and turns back at the old man and says, "Tell him, you deaf?" And the old man turns white as a ghost, nods, and disappears into the house, leaving the door ajar. And James T. just kind of smiles to himself as he tinkers back on the ground on his hands into your group there. He says,
they're side-eyeing with like disgust how he treated the guy.
Yeah. And he looks up at you and just smiling. He says, "You're going to love this guy." And he kind of situates himself in the group there. Anything you guys would like to do?
Oh, there's so many things.
Right.
So many things.
Well, let's start. I'm gonna probably go invisible here. This is gonna be very interesting.
Okay, you cast invisibility.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
I'm gonna start mumbling the words, "I fucking told you so."
All right. As you start to mumble that, from inside the house comes an angry bellow and a crashing noise. And James says, with a big grin on his face, "This is all very reminiscent to you, Senate of your vision. Yeah, get ready, friends. Here's Mez." And right on cue, you see metal claws reach into that door that's ajar and begin to pull it back. And that's where we'll pause and end this episode.
I'm gonna melt him for fucking scrap.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, and not nicely either.
All right. For those of you that stayed with us to the end, thank you very much. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you really liked us, hit subscribe. Please leave comments down below. If you really want to have a nice conversation with us about riffs and other related RPG stuff, you can join us on our Discord. We're just so happy to have our group forming around us here, and lots more to come. I'm Magnum Pi here with Teku Golgotha Vahilo and Dark Templar, and we are Initiative Zero.